Hello, you all. So I'm going to talk about React Native performance. Starting with, I will touch upon internal so you can understand the whole system better. Then I will move forward with performance in context of internals. So you can take better ideas when choosing a library and taking decision for architecturing your mobile app better. So let's understand how React Native is handling our UI and business logic. So React Native has three threads: JavaScript thread, where our UI is declared in JSX and where our business logic resides. Shadow thread, where shadow nodes for layout are created. Platform thread, where UI is painted and native events like touch and scroll are recognized and handled. Now, the communication between these threads is asynchronous and done by JavaScript Bridge. Creation of views, responding to events, everything needs to be passed by JavaScript Bridge because both of the threads doesn't know what's going at the other side, right? Now, example, where JavaScript thread will send message to native thread that I want to create this view, okay, and it will send the styles and every property, right? Now, every style you define, like opacity, background color, everything will be actually set to native like this. This is a small example, the small piece of code. The property you will pass will be set to native like this. So at the end, everything is going to native. That is the whole selling point of React Native. So how does the exact rendering is happening? Our view goes to traditional React.create element, and if we console log it, we can see a large object. Now on the JavaScript side, React resides and it will create its fancy virtual DOM. And as soon as it knows that I need to update or create a new node, it will send that node to Shadow Thread. But now here comes some tricky part. Our native platform doesn't understand Flex at all. So React Native uses Yoga layout engine. If if we explain it in a very simple terms, it will just mathematically calculates the view positions and it will create a node out of it. Now the shadow thread leverages this. It will create shadow nodes that are used primarily for layouting. So it needs to extend Yoga node to allow all of it. Now native platform will pick this node and paint it. So as our UI is painted through native side, how native events like touch and scroll are handled. Because these events are identified at the native side as the rendering is happening all native. And these events are identified at native. But our responder, like a on-click function, is residing on the JavaScript side. Now, everything might sound like a magic. So let's just see this piece of code. Now, like many of you, even I don't understand native at all, but we can use our basic understanding of programming to understand this. Now, to explain this piece of code in just a just, what it's doing is whenever there's a click, what it will do is that it will dispatch an event. Let's just suppose it will say I'm been clicked with the help of React tag. What is React tag? You can consider this as identifier which helps both the native and JavaScript side to respond because both of the platforms doesn't know right what to execute because when you click a button, okay, there are a lot of functions residing on the JavaScript side. How it will identify that I need to execute this function which was associated with this button. Again, React helps us with that because there is a copy of DOM in JavaScript world. So it will leverage this React tag to find the node and execute that associated function with it. Now coming to handling performance. So performance in React Native apps are primarily compromised because of JavaScript bridge. As it is used to communicate between native side and JavaScript side, sometimes when there are too many operations going around, our JavaScript bridge is choked. And the best way to look at the situation is like this. So when the Suez Canal was blocked at the trade stop, no, trading was disturbed. Ships either had to wait or take another route. Same what happens in JavaScript bridge world. Sometimes bridge gets choked because of too many operations going around. But sadly, we don't have any other route to travel. So all the pending operations need to wait till the route. That means here the JavaScript bridge is clear. So the key to make your app perform better is by taking care of JavaScript bridge and to ensure that the bridge is as free as possible so it can respond to event as soon as it can. Now you might think that every library you should choose should be made with native code. So all heavy operations are executed on native side, but that's not true. When choosing the library, you should draw a line of when to pick native solution or JavaScript based solution. When needed, use dedicated libraries for native behavior, such as navigation, animation, and calendar. Native components such as accordion or checkbox doesn't make that much sense. So while building your application, you need a navigation library, right? So for navigation, we have two popular libraries, which are React Native Navigation, which offers us complete native navigation, which is better in terms of performance and gives us a proper native look and feel in terms of when navigating to another screen, transitions and everything. Now, another is React Navigation, which provides us two APIs. One is Create Stack Navigator and the other is Create Native Stack Navigator, which is made over React Native screens. So you can consider Create Stack Navigator more of a JavaScript based solution. It is made over community libraries and it mimics the native behavior of navigation. So the biggest benefit you can consider here is that your navigation transition and animation will look exactly the same no matter what platform or the device you're running on, Android or iOS, it won't matter. Another is Create Native Stack Navigator, and it offers us native animation, native navigation, just like React Native Navigation. So let us compare the performance of Create Stack Navigator, Create Native Stack Navigator, and React Native Navigation. So I'm going to demonstrate you one example in one video. In that example, I'm going to navigate to one screen, come back, and again navigate, going back and forth two times. The video is going to be laggy anyway because of some internet issue. Then I will show you the flipper messages to explain you more better. So this is the example of Create Stack Navigator. Wait a minute, it should open up. Now, as you can see, the lowest we hit was 37 in the JavaScript. And let's see our Flipper logs. Now, Flipper is a debugger tool, and in this tool, I'm using a smart thing from which I can see bridge messages. Now, as you can see, the direction is JavaScript to native here, and you can see it is invoking native animation. So, as you can guess, as I said earlier, that it is a JavaScript-based solution. And recently, the animation the Create Stack Navigator uses is made with Vanilla Animated API. So you might see a performance degradation there. So now coming to Create Native Stack Navigator, the lowest was 47 in the Flipper logs. As you can see, everything is handled at the native side here. So first as we can see that there was a performance boost here, right? And everything was handled at native rather on JavaScript. So, and here comes React Native Navigation. Again, the lowest we hit was 47. And as you can see here, the navigation is getting handled at native side. Now, you can see that React Native Navigation also handles our navigation on the native side. So, and also Create Native Stack Navigator offered us a similar performance of React Native Navigation. So you may ask that what should we pick? So the only big difference here is that React Native Navigation also offers us native shared element transitions, whereas we don't have anything similar on Create Native Stack Navigator. Now coming to animation library. So for animation, React Native provides us animated API, which does all layout computation for every single frame on JavaScript side and send it over to native via bridge. And as you can guess, this is way too heavy, but it also provides us the option to use native driver, which ensures all calculation for interpolation or layout happens on the native side rather on the JavaScript side. But in the end, any Android API communicates by the JavaScript bridge. As I explained earlier, how touches are recognized and handled in React Native. Now imagine a scenario where API calls are going around and you are scrolling a list with a collapsible header. Chances of getting a bridge choked are high. And when you tap on button, it might not even respond because the bridge is choked and it can't respond to anything now. Now, another is Reanimator 2. So to understand Reanimator 2, let's go back how React Native is working. As I talk about platform thread, we know that JavaScript is single threaded, but native platforms aren't. So like in native Android, we can have multiple threads. One thread is like just only responsible handling UI, other to recognize touch event, serialize to JSON and send over the bridge. Now, as you can see, our UI thread is pretty much free and it can respond to anything. Now, Reanimator 2 leverages this. It will provide us worklets, which are tiny chunks of JavaScript code that can be moved to a separate JavaScript VM and execute synchronously on the UI thread. You might be thinking that if we need to execute a side effect or animation, let's just suppose to delete an item from array. How can we do that? Because now the animation is on the completely on separate thread. But you can do that because Reanimated 2 provide us run on JS completely out of the box. You can just pass your function and it will just run smoothly. Now, let's come to performance part. In these example, I'm just going to translate a box and I will show you the Flipper messages side by side. So this example is an Android API without native driver. Now you might say that the animations were quite smooth and what's the problem here? But as you can see here, wait a minute. But as you can see, every calculation is happening on JavaScript side and sending over the bridge again and again. And this task is way too much heavy and you should ignore this. You should ignore using animated API without native driver as much as possible. Now coming to animated API with native driver, again the animation was quite smooth, but on Flipper you can see that no calculation has been done on JavaScript side. The animation is just initiated from JavaScript and all the calculation and layout thing happens on the native side. So there is less bridge traffic here. But in the end, it uses bridge to communicate. And if possible, we should avoid that because for animation, we don't want that there should be a delay. Responding to touch events should be fast and quick as possible. Now here comes Reanimated 2. Okay, now here comes the surprising part. You won't see anything going from JavaScript to native, neither from native to JavaScript. And you might ask me that why? Because there should be a bridge communication, right? Uh, Reanimated 2 uses JSI to just simplify this thing. JSI doesn't need to use bridge to communicate with the native side. To know more about JSI, you should see more talks about the new architecture coming to React Native. Sorry, I can't touch on it now because of time constraints. Now, coming to handling big list. So when you are dealing with big list, and we know that that the maximum list items are going to have the same viewports, then we should opt for recycle list too instead of flat list or virtualized list, because both flat list and virtualized list are JavaScript based solutions. And recycle list 2 is also a JavaScript based solution, but it takes a different approach of solving big list. What it does is that it uses cell recycling. Instead of creating the same viewport views again and again, it will instead reuse them. So it doesn't need to cross bridge that much. So, but again, it also depends on different use cases, because a chat UI with recycle list view won't be idle fit, because every chat message will have different viewports. So their flat list might be a better solution. Apart from handling the virtualization, there are other things which can boost your performance for big list, which are caching your images. React Native fast image is very great because you can also give a priority uh, to which image to load fast, and also using Memo for rendering child components also adds a huge difference. Also, Recycle List 2 gives us the ability to create amazing layout. Behind the scene, everything is position absolute aligned. And just like Fatlist, it's made of a scroll view. Another thing is that its API is little bit hard to understand, but if you get a grip on it, you can control your layout. Like, it's best out there to control your layout. It's like nothing else. So as you can see this layout, the same layout, okay, sorry, the same layout cannot be made with Fatlist, because Fatlist either will create a grid using number of columns, but recycle list view, as I said, positions everything absolute. So this kind of layout is very easy to achieve with recycle list view, and it's very performant too. So you should use Memo and use callback more and more. So as I explained earlier, that our business logic resides in the JavaScript thread. And in order to execute JavaScript, we need an engine that might be JSC or Hermes. Now, whenever there are unconditional re-renders happens, those views aren't recreated from the native side, but a lot of memory is wasted because of diffing algo at which React does and anonymous functions like array.length type method inside render and tensor.log are actually all JavaScript engine tasks, and already it's doing a lot of work in React Native React. So Memo and use callback can help us here. So in the Flipper messages which I'm going to show you, I created a small POC where in 90 seconds I added 460 to 480 items in Flatlist by tapping on a button continuously. The bridge was choked either way, but with Memo, render time and bridge free time had a significant difference. Uh, as you can see, this is with Memo, and the commit time and the free time, everything is here. You can see 171 render time, and it got free at 342. Now without Memo, you can see it's way too high. It's like a 50% performance. It's like 50% difference here. The last is using Hermes engine. Hermes engine improves Android performance a lot because JSC existed for iOS devices because of Safari, but for Android it was specially built and bundled. That's why iOS have better performance and Android applications have a bigger size because JSC is shipped with it. Now enabling Hermes will result in improved startup times, decreased memory usage, and smaller app size. And now iOS support is also out, and Hermes is like no-brainer. You should definitely opt in for this. Uh, that's it from my side. And before ending, I would like to thank all of my mentors who pushed me to encourage to give this talk and verified my talk material too. Thank you all for this. Uh, I'm done with the talk. Any questions?